guys, Harold Osmer, Automotive Book Reviews. As a matter of fact, I am Parnelli Jones. Okay, I'm not Parnelli Jones. This one's Parnelli Jones. It's kind of a takeoff on Barney Oldfield, who was a couple of generations ahead of Parnelli Jones. Anybody involved in racing, of course, will recognize the name of Parnelli Jones. It was Rufus Parnell Jones, was his actual given name. And when he started racing, he was too young. And he knew that if anybody in the grandstands or wherever recognized him, then they would kick him out of the track. And they knew with a name as unique as Rufus Jones, he would get kicked out. So he and his friends, they set up a deal where they took his middle name and they played off of that, and they made him Parnelli Jones, and off he went. After a couple of years, he was old enough it didn't matter anyway. Parnelli Jones, he's like synonymous with auto racing, all different types of auto racing. Of course, we know about him from the Indy 500. Being a Southern California racing historian, I've run into Parnelli Jones several times along the way, and you can't escape what he's done here in Southern California at all the different tracks that we have. This is a terrific book. It was done with Bones Boursier. Now, this isn't really a book about Parnelli Jones. This is a book by Parnelli Jones. The guy actually, I guess he dictated this thing, and they wrote it all out, and he just tells you the stories just the way that it was. So you don't really have to worry about interpretation. No, he just tells you, this is what happened, this is what went on, this is what it was. And so you don't have to interpret any of that sort of stuff. It's really refreshing to pick up a book that's done like that. And Jones tells a pretty good story. His reputation is that he's kind of a shy individual until he gets to know you, and then he's got a different sort of sense of humor, that kind of thing. See, but when he comes to the writing and telling of his own story, he does a terrific job, and you're just able to move right through this book pretty well. Each chapter, I mean, it's in chronological order, so each chapter is laid out. You got a little introduction from, sometimes it's his friends, sometimes it's a racing cohort, sometimes it's different guys like this. I mean, he went from jalopies to modifieds, midgets, stock cars, Indy car, Baja, the whole thing. I mean, and then he got into business, and he did all of that. You just can't beat Parnelli Jones, for crying out loud. Now, at one point in there, he says, he talks about competing, and he describes it. He says, how does he say that? He says, it's not that I have to win every time, it's just that I hate to lose. So, well, that sort of comes across in the book as well. He's pretty clear about different hard luck situations that he came across, when he almost wins and all this. A lot of guys had those sort of issues too. So, but he covers a pretty wild time in racing. He won Indy in '63, but he was there for 7 years, so he ran from '61 to '67, that kind of thing. And he didn't retire from racing when he left Indy. He just went and did other things, Trans Am, Baja, all that sort of business. It's great, and it's really covered well in this book. This is a terrific book. As a matter of fact, I am Parnelli Jones, with Bones Boursier, I guess is his name. Now, I got a quick story about Parnelli. Of course, as I mentioned, I'm a racing historian from Southern California. Been to a few jalopy reunions and whatnot. I know Hyla Paulson pretty well, Hyla Sweet now, and she was a good friend of Parnelli's in the early days. She brought him over to my table at an event in Victorville one time, and he was he didn't say anything, she did. She said he would like to buy this poster. It was a poster just like this one here, and it was the last one that I had, and I really didn't want to part with it, and but it's Parnelli Jones. He's on the poster, for crying out loud. So I gave it to him, $20. We swapped for $20. I always felt bad about charging him $20 for his own damn poster, but so that's my Parnelli Jones story. Plus, there's a guy real close to Parnelli, a business partner, whatnot, Jim Dillomarter. My daughter and I were out at Irwindale Speedway one time, and we're standing at the back straightaway, and we're watching mini stocks going around in circles. You know what those are? Pintos, 4-cylinder cars. They're on a small track, and they're going around in circles. And I look over, and there's myself and Jim Dillomarter and my daughter Marinda standing over there, and we're just watching cars go around in circles, having a good time. Now, here's a guy in Dillomarter who's as close to Parnelli Jones as you can possibly get. He's been F1 racing, he's been to Baja, he's been to Indy, all this stuff. Yet he's standing out there enjoying watching mini stocks on a local track go around in circles. That illustrates the kind of people from this generation of racing. They just love racing, they love the game, they just want to be a part of it, and they were a very essential part of it. And this was back in the days Parnelli drove when you had open cockpits and guys were out there and everybody knew who they were. And it was, I think, a better time. It comes across pretty well in the book. I suggest you go get it. YouTube has some goofy rules about linking to associated sites and whatnot, so there's a link over here. It'll take you to my website, right to the page. You'll see a thing on there that says order here. And that link will take you directly to Coastal 181, or you can order, as a matter of fact, I am Parnelli Jones. You get the whole story from Parnelli himself. It's Harold Osmer, Automotive Book Reviews.